everyone, welcome to our latest Zazzle Chat. We have another special Zazzle Chat for you today with another new face. We're going to be chatting about search engine optimization, what we usually refer to as SEO. So if you do have any questions, as usual, please join us on Twitter. We're at Zazzle, and you can send us questions with the hashtag ZazzleChat, and we'll take a look at those questions at the end. I'm here with Micah today. Micah, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do here at Zazzle?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Micah Fisher-Kirshner. I'm basically, I do SEO as one of the SEOs here at Zazzle, and I've been doing SEO for a number of years at a variety of different companies. In particular here at Zazzle, I often help do some internal training of other teams with their projects so that they can succeed online. And then on top of that, I work on a variety of different projects with SEO, kind of on the technical end of how things should run within Zazzle.
Great. So this is a little bit more of a technical aspect. So can you give us a quick overview of what SEO means and how exactly that comes up when we're looking at something like Google?
Yeah, SEO, as you mentioned, is about search engines and how do you optimize for them, hence search engine optimization. That part of it, when you're doing a search on Google or Yahoo or Bing, is often what we define as kind of the free or the organic part of the results. This is where we're not paying for money, it's not sponsored, there's no ad, it's not at the, right at top or kind of on the right rail. That's where we're basically showcasing to both users as well as to the search engines why we deserve to be ranking organically higher up on the page.
Great. So SEO seems like might be kind of a large thing. What are the main components of SEO?
So I kind of think of SEO in three main components. The first with the content side, usually the written part of it, where how we describe something, telling both users as well as the search engines what this is about and why it's of value as a way to help get us to rank better on search engines. The second component is really around the promotional side of things. So getting people to share it, to hear about it, where for both users as well as the search engines, showing the credibility and the authority of the site, so that in turn that provides an additional external viewpoint of why this page or Zazzle as a whole deserves to be ranking higher. And then, of course, the third part is the much more technical area. So this can range from bounce rates on the site, making sure kind of we're trying to bring that down so more people are enjoying their experience, to very technical of how the search engines robots are crawling within our website and kind of optimizing that flow.
Okay, so sounds like the technical aspect may not be quite as applicable to our Zazzle designers, but content really seems like where they might be able to join in. So what kind of tips do we have for content? What can Zazzle designers do to help with the content aspect of SEO?
Yeah, let me take an example. So I'm going to take this design here. We generally, on Zazzle's end, we help describe kind of, okay, this product is a lamp. It could be a certain type of lamp, but for the most part, we're covering the product side. So what we look for in the help from the designers is how you're describing that design itself. So in this case here, we've got a red-orange type of fox. It's got a blue background. It's kind of cute looking on this type of lamp. So we're trying to look at how do we describe this in a way that people are going to understand and actually look for from those search engines. So if we take kind of some of the parts of the areas of what designers control, like the title tag, it's about being succinct and to the point of just the design portion. When you get down to the more descriptive elements, it's kind of a bit more of the sell approach. It's what your heart and effort went into this design. So now you need to not just have the design there, but then tell them your heart and soul of how and why you put all that work into it and why that last part of why they should buy.
Okay, so for this we might say that the title would be a nice succinct description of just the design, and then the description would be where you can really tell the story behind the design.
Yeah, I mean, you still want to provide maybe some more information of this type of fox, but yes, there's what the heart and soul into how you designed it, or even why this is a great type of gift maybe for little kids.
Great. So as far as that goes, we also have tags along with this title and description. So what do we see as good tags versus something that might be a little more like spam tags?
Yeah, a lot of it is just kind of using common sense. Thinking about as someone who would want to try and find this yourself, what are the types of terms that someone would use? This is a tag you could use as a red fox, or a cute fox, or let's just say, you know, a fox with a very long type of tail. It's thinking about the terms that people will try to use and having that on site. Those are the types that are very relevant to it. You know, and it can be even a you know, type of gift for an animal, for an animal lover. Yeah. When we think about kind of the more, when it gets down towards the spam end of things, that's where you want to avoid way too many and spelling errors or irrelevant type of tags. Each of those have their own reasons. You know, way too many kind of starts to look like spam. People kind of get a little worried that it's just a keyword, comma, keyword, comma, keyword, and it kind of off-putting to a lot of people. It's the common sense of that just doesn't look right. When it comes to trying to go for everything, unfortunately, in a lot of ways, when you try to go after everything, you will rank for just about not, you won't rank for anything.
Okay, so more tags necessarily won't really help me.
You know, it's a diminishing value from that. So after a certain point, it's just not that much more extra, and then at a certain point, it kind of looks spammy towards the negative end. But the other thing is that with misspellings, we try to cover those so that whether it's misspellings or plural versus singular, is that we try to make sure that's all together so that there's no need really for designers to try all those different types of variations. Mm-hmm. And that just, it's best to kind of go for what are the big terms and the real point of this type of design.
Great. So I can tag that with fox and not have to worry about tagging it also with foxes because it'll still come up for both of those searches.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. And you did mention this is really about the design. So we're taking care of the product side. So if I'm a designer, do I need to mention that this is a lamp?
No, that part you won't need to do whatsoever. We cover that within our internal system. We add that back in. So there's not a need, particularly with say the tag section at all, to do that.
Wonderful. So other than content, you mentioned promotion is a big part of SEO. So what can a Zazzle designer do in that aspect to help their search engine rankings?
Yeah, the promotion and some of the things to consider is having your own blog. And part of that is really to start to establish your own brand. People just naturally, you know, even in the offline world, trust brands more than they do a random person that they don't have ever heard of before. Mm-hmm. So, you know, establishing yourself even outside of the Zazzle sphere is an important part of promotion. The more somebody is seeing you come up often and has heard of you, the more likely they're going to buy from you. So having that type of blog and doing promotions with other bloggers or other sites and networks are a great way to then funnel that back to your store here on Zazzle.
Great. So beside just really getting your name out there, how does having links to your Zazzle products help you as far as SEO?
Yeah, so these are things where these natural links that are coming into the site are a great way that helps funnel all that power as well back through the rest of the Zazzle ecosphere. Mm-hmm. So if all the links kind of are going there, those tags and kind of showing up for things potentially like Fox Gifts or Fox Lamps, things like that, will help Zazzle as well to show up higher on Google. And that's where the higher up that we do, the more likely your design surfaces with, you know, more people coming and seeing your design in our results, and that means potentially more sales for you.
Wonderful. So other than that, let's see if we have some questions from Twitter. What are some examples of top keywords that we might recommend?
Recommend top keywords. So these, this is where.
Or would it really depend on your design?
It does. It does depend on your design. If we go back to kind of a design like this, it's knowing what people are searching for.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a great tool out there that Google provides. It's the Google AdWords keyword tool. And in there you can kind of do some searches of what are phrases that you might search for, and Google will provide the volume of how many people are searching that every month, as well as kind of other related terms there. And so kind of using that, both what type of terms and tags to use on Zazzle, but also what other kinds of designs you might be able to create based on what people are searching for.
Great. All right. What is the difference between SEO and SEM?
Yes. So SEM actually has two dual meanings. It depends on different companies. But SEM itself means search engine marketing. In the generic sense, this covers all search engine type of marketing. In some companies, however, SEM often is equatable to what's called paid search. This is the ad portion that shows up on Google, sponsored ads. That's kind of the paid side of stuff, whereas SEO is the pure, like, I'm not paying money to show up on Google. And so those are kind of the two differences between those.
Okay. Let's see. So in general, it seems like the rules for SEO are constantly changing. Google is always changing. What kind of recommendations do we have for designers to kind of stay on top of that?
Yeah, the rules are constantly changing, which means kind of the things that we do on site, as well as sometimes, unfortunately, some of our rules have to change with Google. So staying up to date can be from paying attention to Google's own blog to kind of talking about that. They have their own webmaster blog that talks about these rules every so often. The latest one kind of being the whole big mobile-friendly type of website. Staying on top of that is just following them, is trying to think, what is the most common sense of what a user is going to do? Does this look real? Does it look legitimate, authoritative? You're more than likely to stay okay over time doing that versus trying a lot of the technical tricks, which might work for a time here or there until Google or us catch on and get knocked out because of that.
Would you say that focusing on that good content of title, descriptions, tags, and getting your links out there, do you think that will always be helpful?
Yeah, I think anything that is, once again, it goes back to that common sense of, if you think about the offline world, what are the things that you would do offline is often very equatable to the online world. So describing who you are, whether you're talking to the person and using words, that's kind of the same thing, except you're now writing it down. You're going out there and promoting your designs through kind of the PR sphere, through newspapers or through friends and family. The same thing you would do online through social media or even then newspaper kind of websites. It's that very similar aspect that it's just converting the two from offline to the online.
Great. So we did mention that you don't need to actually talk about the product type, because we do mention that on our own. Should you also mention the maker, as we have so many different makers on the platform? So something like this is created by Lamp in a Box. Do I need to mention that at all in my metadata?
No, once again, that's where we're going to be controlling anything on that product side. We are going to be trying to insert that information in and making sure we're optimizing well for the product side of things. So the real emphasis is to try to stay focused for what you have here. And if your design is going to be across a lot of different products, is thinking about how that design fits across the board. And really then from that is just look at the design and really spend what you know well on, which is the design.
So that's something that I know we've talked about, as far as duplicate content being something that search engines are really not a fan of. So if I have this same design on multiple product types, what kind of recommendations do we have to make those titles, descriptions, etc. really unique?
Yeah, so that's where you start to get to an interesting situation of when you start being descriptive of this design on a product. That's when there, as everything, there are exceptions. Now you're describing this interaction, the whole product combination of both the actual product and the design, and describing what makes this unique for this situation. This design may be more of a hipster type of design when it looks on a phone. But when I look at it on a lamp, my instinct as a parent is not hipster, but cute for a kid. And so how I'm describing it now for this specific instance of this red fox on a lamp is going to be different. And so that's where I would try to provide that descriptive elements for the design just for this one type of thing. And that, by doing so, really, you're creating the differentiation that it's not then duplicate.
Great. So even though I don't need to mention the specific product type in my metadata, I can really think about the use of that specific product type with that design.
Yeah, well, that's fair to say.
Great. How do we feel about the impact of affiliate links on SEO? Is too many affiliate links a problem?
So affiliate links are an area, so it depends. Like it depends on what kind of affiliate links, it depends on how it's being used. A lot of ways to look at it is that Google, whether it's links or anything else when it comes to kind of the online world, they don't want you to just be doing one thing, except for Google itself. But no, they don't want you to be creating promotions in only one area. That's when they think it starts to look a little too artificial, doesn't look good. They want you to be able to try to really branch out there in a lot of different areas, because once again, if you're doing really good promotions and you're getting to be well known, then it should start to organically show up in the most random place. And if it looks too much set in one specific area, that's where things get worrisome for them, and looks like you might be trying to manipulate things rather than trying to organically and naturally build who you are.
Okay, so for a designer who's promoting, should they focus on being pretty diverse in the different avenues that they're using to promote?
Yeah, diversity is essentially key for that.
Great. Okay, I think that's just about all we have for today. If you do have any additional questions, please feel free to chime in on the forums, and we will try to get you answers there. Thanks so much for tuning in.